What did your family do that made you stop caring about prison? My mother called me every single morning at 8 a.m. sharp for 15 years straight. Rain or shine, holidays or work days, that phone would ring, and I'd hear her voice asking about my kids and telling me what she was cooking for dinner. When she missed 3 calls in a row, I knew something was wrong. I called my older brother Vincent since he lived closest to her and had been helping manage her care after Dad passed. He said she was just tired, sleeping more than usual, probably fighting off a cold. I believed him because why wouldn't I? He'd moved back home specifically to help her. He'd quit his job, handled her medications, drove her to appointments. Everyone in the family praised him for being such a devoted son. I sent money every month to help cover expenses, grateful that someone could be there when I couldn't. Vincent was the golden child finally living up to his potential. 3 weeks later, my mother was in the ICU, severely malnourished and covered in bed sores that had rotted down to the bone. The doctors pulled me aside with faces I'll never forget. They asked how long she'd been in this condition. I had no answer. I'd visited just 2 months ago and she'd looked thin, but okay. Vincent had always been there during my visits, hovering, making sure conversations stayed short because Mom needed her rest. The hospital social worker used words like elder abuse and criminal neglect. I couldn't process what she was saying. My brother had been living with her, caring for her, updating the family group chat with photos of them watching movies together. None of this made sense. I called Vincent and he didn't answer. I called again. Nothing. I drove to my mother's house and found it completely empty. Furniture gone, her jewelry missing, her savings account drained to zero. My mother died 4 days later. I held her hand as the monitors flatlined, and something inside me died with her. The police investigation revealed everything. Vincent had been forging her checks for over a year, stealing nearly $200,000 from her accounts. He'd canceled her home health aid visits to hide what was happening. He'd been feeding her barely enough to keep her alive while he gambled away her life savings at casinos 3 states over. The photos in our family group chat were old pictures he'd recycled and edited with new dates. He'd isolated her completely, unplugging her phone when he wasn't home so she couldn't call anyone for help. My mother had spent her final months alone, starving, lying in her own waste, wondering why none of her children came to save her. She'd written letters that Vincent had intercepted and burned. The last one, recovered from the fireplace, simply said, "Please help me. I'm so scared." I found Vincent at a motel outside of Reno 3 weeks later. The police were still building their case, moving too slow, drowning in paperwork while my mother rotted in the ground. I'd hired a private investigator with money I didn't have. I sat in that parking lot for 6 hours, watching his room, a baseball bat across my lap. I wasn't thinking about consequences. I wasn't thinking about my wife or my kids or the life I'd built. I was thinking about my mother crying out for help while her own son walked past her bedroom door. I was thinking about her bed sores and her brittle bones and the confused terror in her eyes during those final days. When Vincent finally stepped outside to smoke a cigarette, I was already out of my car and walking toward him. He saw me and dropped his cigarette, started backing up, hands raised, saying my name over and over like it would make me stop. I got 3 swings in before hotel security tackled me, broke his jaw, his nose, and 4 ribs. The cops came and I didn't resist. I sat in the back of that cruiser feeling more peace than I'd felt in months. The arresting officer looked at me in the rearview mirror and asked why I did it. I told him about my mother, about the letters, about the bed sores. He went quiet for a long time. When we got to the station, he recommended I get a good lawyer and said sometimes the system fails people who need it most. The DA charged me with assault, but the judge had read my mother's recovered letters. He gave me community service and anger management. Vincent, on the other hand, faced 15 counts, including elder abuse, fraud, and criminally negligent homicide. His defense lawyer tried for sympathy, but the jury had seen the photos of my mother's condition. Vincent got 25 years. The inmates found out why he was there within the first week.